toys are there. Okay, animal toys are there. The basically we need this particular categorization means given an example, given an image of a particular object, our machine learning system is able to categorize it as an apple or toy or whatever it may be, cat or dog or something like that. Okay, so this is the basic idea. So this is what we call it as.
Sir, you are muted, sir.
Okay, I think my lecture is boring for some people, I think. uh, is it so? And they are forced
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
is it forced they are forced to sit there and muting me again and again. Anyway, let us no issues, no issues, let me continue. Okay, another application, it is not something new application, you already know this application, face detection and recognition. Very widely used, widely researched problem, I can say. Face detection. Face detection, I think it is not new for you. Whenever you use a Facebook or you upload some photos there, there is a box, rectangular box will come, square or rectangular box, and it is asking, Facebook is asking you, shall I tag so and so? Am I right? Facebook is asking you, shall I tag so and so? Okay, so that is what one application I can say, face detection and recognition. Nowadays also it is very challenging problem. Why it is challenging problem? It is challenging problem because most of the time, whenever we go for training, we get the frontal faces. But suppose if you get a face in a group where it is not frontal means front image. Look at these images, it is not frontal, but recognize these images, who is he or who is she, it is very challenging one. I'm not saying that not possible, it is challenging one. Okay, so this is a core idea why it is face detection and recognition is still a challenging problem. So in group detecting the face is very difficult. Last year, one project team tried to carried out to solve this particular problem as a part of their project. Their application is classroom attendance. Whenever you are sitting in the class, suppose in the CC cam or some other uh, say imaging photo, I mean camera is there, using that group photo of your class is taken. Class means you are sitting in the class. Assume you have the CC cam, and from the CC cam, is it possible to recognize you and give the attendance? So that is what they tried. uh, Unfortunately, they have taken the group photos and they have done it, but actual classroom photos are not taken. Maybe due to this COVID pandemic, whenever they are planning to take the photos of the in group in the from the class, now all are at home at that point of time. Okay, so they did it for some good images, but there are some challenges. For example, in the class, if you consider one may be sitting behind the another, your face may not be visible completely, only partial faces is visible, face is occluded means front someone is sitting. Okay, so your face is only partially visible to the camera. So how to handle these situations, it is very difficult to handle these situations, challenging problem. Still it is a challenging problem, very old problem, face recognition, but still it is a challenging one because of so many issues. Okay, another application you might have already gone through, maybe in your Google or any other search engines. Now we can see your speech is converted into text. Your speech is converted into text. It will know what is the language, usually English or some other languages also. Okay, regional languages also. It will recognize your speech and convert that into text. This is one of the very useful application nowadays. You can think of this is a very good application, especially for there are many applications. Maybe some people are having some problem with uh, visual, I mean, blind people. They can communicate with the system with the voice. So if at all you develop some systems where it recognizes the speech, definitely a very good system. So basically, this system works on machine learning background. It works on machine learning applications. Just for your information, like Word, there is a Google Docs. In Google Docs, there is an option in Tools menu. There is an option where we can go for voice typing. Voice typing. So you need not type by hand. Any language, Kannada or English or Hindi or whatever may be the language, you need to select the language first, then give your voice. Automatically typed content will come in the Google Docs. Okay, just for information. So this speech recognition is already, they have solved this problem, but still it is having some problem, like challenges like if at all noise in the voice. Okay, so some things yet to take care. So this is one application developed using machine learning. Text analysis, very challenging thing. Text analysis. Say, given a paragraph, can you summarize it? Given a paragraph, can you summarize it? This is one application of the text. So please note that text is nothing but characters. Character for computer is nothing but ASCII values. So meaning is not understood by the machine. So we need to develop the system to just to come out with the meaning, come out with the information in the paragraph. Can you summarize the paragraph? Can you extract the information from the paragraph? What do you mean by extracting the information? Suppose a paragraph is given, can you identify who is the person involved in the paragraph? What are the organization? What are the content that is conveyed by the text which is given in the paragraph? Okay, all these question marks, whatever I am pointing, if you try to develop an application, it is an individual application. So please understand, text analysis is not a single application. Wide number of applications are there. For given a paragraph, there are so many things you can do, we have to do. Okay, open problems are there are many. Okay, so using the text, if at all you come out with some development or some application that will be beneficial for the society, at least you can try. Okay, photo tagging. This I already explained actually. Face recognition, photo tagging is one application. It is nothing but the face detection and recognition. Not much important. Okay, so there are many other applications also. Segment the customers and find the best marketing strategy for each group. If at all you are the customer in the Amazon or Flipkart or some other online shopping, based upon browsing history, based upon your shopping history, there are many suggestions, advertisements you are getting. Okay, so this is nothing but one of the nice applications. How to develop it is again in the machine learning, backend machine learning is there. There are many other applications. You can just go through this slide later. I already shared this slide in the files. I don't know whether you have gone through the slides, gone through the file section in my channel. So just to go through it, you can just revise this. Okay, I just focus on only some important factors here. Now, what are the different areas that influence machine learning? Means machine learning is not a subject which is developed by itself. Okay, there are many other areas or topics that influences the development of algorithms for machine learning. Okay. So in that context, what are the different in that context, what are the different areas that influence the machine learning? If you look at that, so there are few. Number one is statistics, very, very important one. Most of the machine learning algorithms are developed by, uh, or the core idea behind developing the algorithms behind the machine learning algorithms is nothing but statistics. And also there is something called as information theory. Statistics Bayes theorem is very, very important. Bayes theorem. So we are looking into that in the next modules. Bayesian methods are very, very useful in machine learning aspects. Recently, we come across something called as artificial neural networks, deep learning. All these concepts are built based upon some brain models. Okay. Apart from that, there are some methodologies. Uh, something called as linear algebra. You might have studied already in the mathematics. Okay, matrices, eigenvectors, eigenvalues. There are many aspects of linear algebra. Okay. Apart from this, there are some other methods also, like psychology, artificial intelligence, design and analysis of algorithms, complexity of algorithms, calculus from the calculus, differentiation, integration, and some other models. So please understand, many concepts are taken from many different things, and it is built. Okay. Now, now let us understand. Now let us understand how we can build a machine learning process. Okay. See, this slide gives you some overall architecture of the machine learning. Overall architecture. These are the nothing but the stages in the machine learning process. Now, suppose if you take some data, suppose if you consider some problem. What do you mean by some problem? Say you need to summarize the text, or you need to recognize the face, or you need to identify the object, or identify the face, let us say. So what exactly you are supposed to do in your machine learning process? So basically, first you need to identify what is that problem. What are there are different types of problem that we come across later. So try to identify what is the class of problem it is. Then to develop a system, to develop a machine learning model, for that you need some data set. You need to acquire the data. Okay, so that is most important. Once if you acquire the data, okay, then you need to pre-process the data, because some noise will be there. You need to process the data accordingly. Then you need to split the data, maybe training, testing samples, that will come across later. So based upon this data, we need to develop some machine learning models. We need to come out with a machine learning model. Once you come out with a machine learning model, later you need to validate. Validate means how well the model that we developed works. So that is the validation part. Once it is validated, then it should be deployed into the real-time scenario. It should be deployed to the real-time scenario. If at all you have done some internships in machine learning, probably you might have done step number 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have some data set already. You had some data set. You processed it, applied some algorithm. You might have some values to measure how well it works. That's all. Okay. So that is about the machine learning process. Usually we try to forget the last part called as deployment. The deployment is nothing but once the machine learning model is got, it should work on real time. Some new data is got other than the data in your data set. If some similar such data is available for you, then it should work. Okay, so wait for a minute. Yes, so that is what the deployment means. So we always try to forget this particular one. So what I suggest for you is, if at all you feel that there exist some problems in our society that you can solve by using machine learning, how to solve it is a later part. Suppose if you feel that, okay, I need to apply some methodologies to automate this, some problem in the society, okay, so you need to come across all these six steps, okay. Usually, whenever you go for some internship, okay, usually some companies, they just do 2 to 5. You may not get the realistic sense of that, okay. Realistic sense you may not get there, okay. So my suggestion is you need to come across
Sir,
all
screen is not visible.
which one?
Screen is not visible.
Screen is not
One,
visible.
sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, okay, so this is how the stages in the machine learning process will happen. So please remember this throughout this particular academic year, throughout the completion of your projects and all, or internships and all. You need to remember all these things. Now let me get into some terminologies. Let us get into, not all, okay. Some terminology. First terminology is data or data set. What do you mean by data? Maximized screen is visible now? Full screen? Is it
Yes,
visible?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So terminology, let us understand what do you mean by data set. So whenever consider a problem, we need to acquire the data. So of course, sometimes it is difficult to acquire the data from ourselves. So some existing data set is available, some of the repositories in the internet. So you can get the data set. Now what the data set means? Data set may be some numbers, data set may be some images, data set may be some text, okay, so data set may be some videos. These are all the nature of data sets it is available for us. Depending upon the problem we need to solve, we need to get the corresponding data set. Okay. Now, we need to come out with a machine learning algorithm to work with. So, we need to develop a machine learning algorithm or model, we say, machine learning model. To develop the machine learning model, we'll have some samples, subset of data set. Some samples means subset of this particular data set. We call it as training data set, training samples. So overall data set is divided and one subset is got which is called as training data set. Okay. Now, once you build a model, we need to see how well it works. How well it works is nothing but step number 5 in this particular slide. Validate and execute. What do you mean by validation? How well it works? So that is determined by some samples which is not used for training, that is called as testing samples. That is called as testing samples. Okay. So whatever the data that is used for training, that is called as training samples. Whatever the data used for testing is called as testing samples. The process of building our machine learning system is called as training, and the process of evaluating how well our system works, that is called as testing. Okay, so this is about training samples, testing and testing samples. Sometimes after training we need to fine tune our model. For that case, sometimes we use some samples called as evaluating samples. Okay, evaluation samples. Okay, so that is what evaluation samples. So usually we divide our whole data set into training and testing. This is a disjoint set. Occasionally, if there is a need, some algorithms, there is a need that evaluation of samples. In that case, original data set is divided into training, testing, and evaluating samples. So maybe using 60% of the samples for training, 20% for evaluation, 20% for testing. So this is what we do usually. Now, sometimes the data is labeled. Let us understand what you mean by labeled data. With one example, we'll see that. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. This is one example of a data set. Iris data set is the one example, one standard data set we are using most of in our discussion. It is a real data set. Whenever the machine learning algorithms are come out with, this data set is very, very popular. So any algorithm if you develop, first we try to apply on this particular data set, Iris data set. Let us understand what do you mean by Iris data set. Let us understand what do you mean by Iris data set. Iris data set is a data set of flowers. There are 3 categories of flowers: Setosa, versicolor, virginica. There are three categories of flowers. One is Setosa, another is versicolor, another is virginica. There are 3 categories. Then in this particular data set, there are 150 samples. What do you mean by 150 samples? There are 150 flowers are taken to construct this particular data set. Among these 150 samples, 50 are taken from Setosa, 50 are taken from one category, another 50 is taken from another category, another 50 is taken from another category. Setosa 50, versicolor 50, virginica 50. Then each sample consists of 4 features. Please understand, this is not the data set of images. Flower, it is not the data set of flower images. It is a data set of flower features. What is that feature? From the flowers, manually, the authors of this particular data set computed sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width. Sepal means this is the sepal part that okay, that is the sepal length and sepal width, and petals of the flowers, this. Okay, so this is the petal length and petal width. Okay, so they thought, the people thought, those who developed this particular data set, they thought that so these four features are enough to categorize this. Enough or not, we don't know, but they come out with these four features. So there are, as of now, just summarize this like this. There are 150 species, 150 flowers, three categories: Setosa versicolor virginica, 50 each, and there are four features: sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. So this is what we do. Okay, so this is what one data set called as iris data set. Please understand here the four features are there, and fifth one is the category. We call this category as a label. The category is called as label. Okay, so in the previous slide there is something called as labeled data. There is something called as labeled data. Okay, so this is one example for the labeled data. The another example for the data set is one image data set. It is okay. Handwritten digits. Printed one, it is very easy to do. Handwritten digits, suppose we wanted to know whether it is 0 or 1, it is very difficult. So this is one example where there are some samples of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 are given here. So digits, handwritten digits are given. So basically the problem is to know what is that digit. Given the image of one digit, what is the problem? The problem is to know whether it is 0 or 1, 2, 3. Given a number, given an image, we should be able to know what is that number is. Okay, so that is what the challenge here. Challenge sometimes happens because see, suppose if I write something like this, whether it is 7 or 1, it's very hard to find out, because there is, for 7 there is an upper horizontal line. If the line is too small, maybe my intention is writing 7, but our system will identify as 1. Okay, so there are challenges. So this is an image data set. Each image, probably you are studying in a digital image processing, each image consists of pixels. So if you consider one image now, there are, let us say, just for an example, 30 cross 30 pixels. So each pixel denotes a color. Each pixel denotes a color here. Okay. So by using this particular data set, we need to identify what is that number that is given or inputted. So this is another data set, example of another data set. So how many samples are there? How many classes are there? Somebody can respond? How many labels are there? How many categories
10
are there?
classes.
Huh?
10 classes.
10 classes. Yes,
Yeah, 10.
exactly. There are 10 classes, 0 to 9. Okay. How many samples are there here? How many samples are there in this data set?
60. 60.
Yes, it is 10 into 6. There are 60 samples. For each category, how many samples are there? Each category.
6.
Exactly, it is 6. 6 categories there. Okay. So this is another data set. So likewise, we have some data set. You already may be knowing. There are many other examples also you can see. I am not focusing. Okay. I think these two explanations may be sufficient for you to understand what you mean by data set. Okay. Now, there are whatever we are doing in machine learning can be categorized into, say, 2-3 problem types. Probably in my earlier slide, see, classify the problem. I am not explained there actually. What do you mean by classify the problem? Whatever the problem we have, what is that type of the problem it is? We need to understand that. Okay. So to understand that, suppose you have some data set, some images, let us say duck or not duck, some images you have. You should come out with some algorithm, apply some algorithm and come out with a model. Okay. Then once this model is built, for this particular model, whatever we have developed, some unknown image is given. What do you mean by unknown image? Unknown image means we don't know the category. For this image, the category is not known. So for this image, the category is not known. For it is initially it is given. See, this is duck, this is duck, this is not a duck, this is not a duck. It is given in the beginning. Based upon that, we developed our algorithm. Later, we have some image. Now we need to predict by using whatever the developed one as duck or not. Duck or not. This is the output of this model. So please understand, whenever we give the data in the beginning, we give along with the labels. Duck not duck is nothing but a label. So labeled data, whenever we work with the labeled data, we call it as supervised learning. Whenever we work with labeled data, the learning that happens is called as supervised. Why the term supervised? It is supervised because we have labels. We know what it is. We know the label of a particular sample. That is why we call it as a supervised learning. Okay. So this one example for the supervised learning is classification. We also use another term, recognition, identification. Recognition, identification, classification, all are synonyms to each other. So while training, so what is that problem called as classification? Given an unknown sample, we should be able to identify what is the label of that particular sample based upon the previous training. So that is what classification. Hope you recall this particular definition throughout our machine learning aspects, because every time whenever I say classification, you should remember classification is the job or the task of identifying knowing the labels, knowing the categories. That's all, nothing more. It belongs to the category of supervised learning. Here comes another learning called as unsupervised learning. Suppose the data is given to you. And its labels are not given. Then the task is to, of course, to categorize, but category name I don't have because it is not given in the data. So what I try to do is I try to group similar one. Suppose it is told to you that in the data set there are 3 groups. It is given to you that in the data set there are 3 groups. So in that case, we do some learning, which is called as unsupervised learning. Unsupervised because label of the data is not given to us. Okay. So unlabeled data we can do something called as grouping. That is what we call it as clustering. Grouping the similar data together, grouping the similar objects together, we call it as clustering. Suppose it is known to us that in our data we have, say, 3 groups. So maybe 3 groups can be constructed something like this. I told one in my explanation, I given one terminology. I used one terminology that if the samples are similar, group it together. Similar. In my explanation, I can say similar. Using human brain, human eyes, we can recognize that it is similar. Maybe because of the shape, maybe because of the color, or some other aspects. But for a machine learning algorithm to say that two images or two data samples are similar means some mathematical equations are required. Some mathematical equations are required to compare two data. It is not as easy as we predict. We, the human beings, will predict. Humans will predict. Okay. So this is what here unsupervised learning. Here is another example. Suppose, of course, the same data. Of course, that same data. But if it is given to you that there are two groups in this particular samples, 5 samples, there are two groups. So probably we can make the data, we can group something like this. Okay, 3 into this, 3 into this. Okay, so this is what called as clustering. It is also called as unsupervised. It belongs to the class of unsupervised learning. Apart from this classification and clustering, there is one more supervised learning, which is called, that slide is not there in my presentation. It is called as regression. What do you mean by regression? Okay, so regression is nothing but it is also labeled data only. I can give some example. Like house price prediction. Say you are given with the location of the house, you are given with the area of the house, type of the house, number of bedrooms in the house. All these features are given to you and the house price is given to you. Assume there are 1,000 such samples are given to you. Now, given a new data with location, area, or a number of bedrooms and so some other features, can you predict the house price? This problem falls into something called as regression. What is the difference here? What is the difference between classification and regression? Both are supervised learning only. The difference is that in regression, we are finding out something called as continuous values. Continuous values means whatever I am predicting the house price, it is maybe 12,000, so maybe 12 lakh, 12.5 lakh. So like that we are predicting. So that whatever we are predicting, it is a continuous value. In classification, the number of labels are fixed. Okay, but in the regression, it is a continuous value. In our lab problems, we have one experiment called as regression, where we are trying to find out. It is a tips database. In hotels, we are giving the tips, no? Basically, the tips database is based on the amount, predicting what will be the tips given. Okay, it is one funniest example anyway. So that we are anyway regression problem we are seeing in lab. In the later stage, we'll look into that. Okay, so that is what the third type called as regression. Okay, now combining everything together, all machine learning algorithms fall into 3 to 4 categories. One is supervised learning, as I explained. The data is labeled. Data X will be there and Y is its label. Okay, given an observation means sample X and its label is given to us. Some of the problems falls into this particular category is classification problem.